The power in creation. Every moment of your life is infinitely creative, and the universe is endlessly bountiful. Just put forth a clear enough request, and everything your heart desires must come to you. In these next chapters, you will learn how easy it is to harness the force of love for money, health, career, business, and relationships. With this knowledge, you will be able to change your life into whatever you want. To bring a specific desire to you, follow the simple steps of the creation process. Whether it's bringing something you want or changing something you don't want, the process is always the same. The creation process. Imagine it, feel it, receive it. 1. Imagine. Use your mind to focus on and imagine what you desire. Imagine yourself being with your desire. Imagine yourself doing things with your desire. Imagine yourself having your desire. 2. Feel at the same time as you imagine. You must feel love for what you're imagining. You must imagine and feel being with your desire. You must imagine and feel doing things with your desire. You must imagine and feel having your desire. Your imagination connects you to what you want. Your desire and feelings of love create the magnetism, the magnetic power, drawing your desire to you. This completes your part in the creation process. 3. Receive. The force of love will work through the visible and invisible forces of nature to bring what you desire to you. It will use circumstances, events, and people to give what you love to you. Whatever you desire, you must want it with all your heart. Desire is love, and unless you have a burning desire in your heart, you will not have enough power to harness the force of love. You must really desire what you want, as an athlete desires to play a sport, a dancer desires to dance, and a painter desires to paint. You must desire what you want with all your heart because desire is a feeling of love, and you must give love to receive what you love. Whatever you want to be in your life, whatever you want to do in your life, whatever you want to have in your life, the creation process is the same. Give love to receive love. Imagine it, feel it, receive it. When using the creation process, imagine and feel that you have what you want already and never deviate from that state of being. Why? Because the law of attraction copies whatever you give, and so you must imagine and feel having it now. If you want to lose weight, then give love by imagining and feeling yourself with the body you love, instead of imagining and feeling that you're overweight every single day. If you want to travel, then give love by imagining and feeling yourself traveling, instead of imagining every day that you don't have the money to travel. If you want to improve yourself in a sport, acting, singing, playing a musical instrument, hobby, or in your job, then give love for what you want to be by imagining and feeling whatever it is you would love to be. If you want a better marriage or a better relationship with anybody, then give love by imagining and feeling what it would be like to have that relationship. Faith is to believe that which you do not yet see, and the reward of this faith is to see that which you believe. When you begin working with the creation process, you might want to start by attracting something unusual. When you specifically attract something unusual, you will be left in no doubt about your power when you receive it. One young woman began by choosing to attract a specific flower, a white calla lily. She imagined holding the flower in her hand, smelling the flower, and she felt having that calla lily. 2 weeks later, she went to a friend's house for dinner, and there in the centerpiece of the table was a bouquet of white calla lilies, the very flower and color she had imagined. She was excited to see the lilies, but she didn't say anything to her friend about her imagined flower. As she was walking out the door at the end of the evening, her friend's daughter spontaneously plucked one white calla lily from the vase and put it in her hand. Imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire, you will what you imagine, and at fast you create what you will. Give it, receive it. Remember that the law of attraction says whatever you give, you receive. If you think of the law of attraction as a mirror, an echo, a boomerang, or a copying machine, it will help make you clearer on what to imagine and feel. The law of attraction is like a mirror because a mirror reflects back exactly what is in front of it. The law of attraction is like an echo because whatever you give out is exactly the echo that comes back. The law of attraction is like a boomerang because whatever boomerang you throw is the exact same boomerang that comes back to you. The law of attraction is like a copying machine because whatever you give is reproduced exactly, and you will receive back an exact copy. A few years ago, I was in Paris for my work, and I was walking down a street when a woman rushed past me wearing one of the most beautiful skirts I had seen. intricately detailed in a Parisian style. My reaction was love. What a beautiful skirt. A few weeks later, I was happily driving to work in Melbourne, Australia, when I was forced to stop because another driver was trying to do an illegal U-turn at an intersection. As I looked at a store window where I had been forced to stop, I saw the exact same skirt I had seen on the woman in the streets of Paris. I could not believe my eyes. When I got to work, I called the store and they told me they had received only one skirt from Europe in that style, and it was the skirt in the window. Of course, the skirt was my size. When I went to the store to purchase the skirt, it was reduced to half price, and the store attendant told me they had not ordered the skirt and that it had just appeared in their order accidentally. The only thing I had done to bring that skirt to me was to love it, and from Paris to a suburban street in Australia, through circumstances and events, the exact same skirt was delivered to me. That is the magnetic power of love. That is love's law of attraction in operation. This world is but a canvas to our imaginations. When you imagine anything positive that you want and love, you are harnessing the force of love. When you imagine something positive, something good, and you feel love for it, that is what you are giving, and that is what you will receive. If you can imagine it and feel it, then you can receive it. But what you're imagining must come from love. Whatever you're imagining must not harm another person. Imagining something that brings harm to another person comes not from love, but from a lack of love. And with certainty, any negativity, even imagined, will turn back with an equal ferocity on the person who sent it. Whatever you give, you receive back. But I want to tell you something fantastic about the force of love and your imagination. The highest and best thing you think is possible is nothing compared to what the force of love can give to you. Love has no limits. If you want to be full of vitality and happiness, with an incredible zest for life, the force of love can give you health and happiness at levels far beyond what you have seen. I am telling you this so that you can start to break the boundaries of your imagination and stop putting limits on your life. Push your imagination to the limits and imagine the best and highest that you possibly can of whatever it is that you want. The difference between someone who is struggling and someone who has a fabulous life comes down to one thing: love. Those who have a great life imagine what they love and want, and they feel the love of what they're imagining more than other people. People who are struggling are unintentionally using their imagination for what they don't love and don't want, and are feeling the negativity of what they're imagining. It's such a simple thing, but it creates vast differences in people's lives, and you can see the difference everywhere you look. The secret of the mastermind is found wholly in the use of imagination. History has proven that those who dare to imagine the impossible are the ones who break all human limitations. In every field of human endeavor, whether science, medicine, sports, the arts, or technology, the names of the people who imagine the impossible are engraved in our history. By breaking the limits of their imagination, they changed the world. Your entire life is what you have imagined it to be. Everything you have or don't have, every situation and circumstance of your life is what you have imagined it to be. The problem is that many people imagine the worst. They're turning the most wonderful tool against themselves. Instead of imagining the best, many people are in fear and imagine all the things that can go wrong. And as surely as they keep imagining and feeling those things, they happen. Whatever you give, you receive. Feel and imagine the best and the highest you can in every area of your life, because the best you can imagine is a piece of cake for the force of love. When my family had settled in the United States, we flew our 15-year-old dog, Cabby, to be with us. One night, not long after Cabby had arrived, he managed to get out of a small gap in the fence. Our home backs onto mountains, so it was far from an ideal situation. In the dark, we searched the streets and the trails leading up to the mountains, but our dog was nowhere to be found. As my daughter and I were searching, negative feelings of anguish began to increase. I knew we had to stop searching and change the way we were feeling inside immediately. The negative feelings were telling us that we were imagining the worst, and we had to change the way we were feeling quickly and imagine the best. At that point, every possible outcome could still happen. and we had to choose the outcome of having Cabby safely home with us. By imagining and feeling that he was home, we returned home and we pretended our dog was with us. We put food in his bowl as though he were there. We imagined hearing the bell around Cabby's neck as he walked down our hallway. We talked to him and called out his name as though he were there. My daughter went to bed imagining that her best friend of 15 years was sleeping next to her bed as he always did. Early the next morning, we discovered a notice on a tree at the foot of the mountains, saying that someone had found a little dog. It was Cabby. Just as we had imagined, our dog returned home safely to us. No matter what challenging situation you may find yourself in, imagine the best outcome and feel it. When you do, you will change the circumstances, and you will change the situation into what you want. Whatever you can imagine exists. Creation is only the projection into form of that which already exists. Whatever desire you can imagine already exists when it doesn't matter what it is. If you can imagine it, it already exists in creation. 5,000 years ago, ancient scriptures recorded that all of creation was done and complete, and that anything that could possibly be created already exists. Now, 5,000 years later, quantum physics has confirmed that every single possibility of anything and everything actually exists now. The creation of the heavens and the earth and everything in them was complete. What that means for you and your life is that whatever you can imagine for yourself in your life already exists. It's impossible for you to imagine anything that doesn't exist. Creation is complete. Every single possibility exists. So, when you imagine breaking a world record or traveling to the Far East, or being full of health, or being a parent, those possibilities of you doing those things exist in creation right now. If they didn't exist already, you would not be able to imagine them. To bring the things you desire and love from the invisible into your visible life, all you have to do is give love for what you want through your imagination and feelings. Imagine your life the way you want it to be. Imagine everything you want. Take your imagination with you every day, and imagine what it would be like if your relationships were all wonderful. Imagine how you would feel if your job suddenly took off. Imagine how your life would be if you had the money you need to do what you love. Imagine how you would feel if you were overflowing with health. Imagine how you would feel if you could do what you wanted to do. Use all of your senses to imagine what you want. If you want to travel to Italy, imagine the smell of olive oil. Taste the pasta. Hear Italian words being spoken to you. Touch the stone of the Colosseum and feel being in Italy. In conversations and in your thoughts say, imagine if, and then fill in the rest of the sentence with what you want. If you're talking to a friend and they're complaining because their work colleague got a promotion and they didn't, help them by saying, imagine if the reason you didn't get that promotion is that you are being promoted to an even bigger role with way more money. Because the truth is that the possibility of your friend being promoted to an even bigger role with way more money already exists, and if they can imagine and feel it, they can receive it. Atoms or elementary particles themselves are not real. They form a world of potentialities or possibilities rather than one of things or facts. Use your imagination and create games so that you feel really good. Whatever you can imagine is waiting for you, fully created in the invisible, and the way to make it visible is to harness the force of love by imagining and feeling what you love. After graduating from college, a young woman struggled for months and months trying to get a job. Her biggest obstacle was imagining having a job when she didn't have one. She wrote in her journal every day that she was grateful for the job that was coming to her, but still no job. Then she had a sudden realization. Her desperate actions of applying for one job after another were saying loud and clear to the law of attraction that she didn't have a job. So here is what the young woman did that changed everything. She decided to use her imagination and live as though she were already employed. She set her alarm early as if she were going to work. Instead of writing in her journal that she was grateful for the job that was coming, she wrote how grateful she was for her success in her job and for the people she worked with. She planned the clothes she would wear to work each day. She set up a savings account for her paychecks. Within 2 weeks, she felt as though she really had a job. Then out of the blue, a friend told her about a position that had become available. She went for an interview, got the job, and received everything she had written about in her journey. Prop yourself up. Whenever you permit yourself to think what persons, things, conditions, or circumstances may suggest, you are not following what you want to think. You are not following your own desires, but borrowed desires. Use your imagination in determining what you want to think or do. When using the creation process, use all the props you can to generate the feeling that you have what you want already. Surround yourself with items of clothing, pictures, photographs, and relevant objects so you can imagine and feel the feelings of having what you want. If you want new clothes, make sure you have space in your wardrobe, with empty clothes hangers ready for your new clothes. If you want to bring more money into your life, does your wallet have space for money, or is it full of irrelevant bits of paper? If you want the perfect partner, you must imagine and feel that the person is with you now. Are you sleeping in the middle of your bed, or are you sleeping on one side because your partner is on the other side of your bed? If your partner were with you now, you would be using only half the space in your wardrobe because your partner's clothes would be in the other half of the wardrobe. Do you set your table for 2 people or 1 person? Just putting out an extra place is something you can easily do. Do your best not to contradict your desire in your day-to-day actions, and instead use the world of props that surround you to feel as though you already have what you want. These are simple little things you can do with props and your imagination, but they are incredibly powerful. One woman used props and her imagination to receive a horse. She had wanted a horse all her life, but she could not afford to buy one. She wanted a chestnut Morgan gelding, and a Morgan would cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So, she imagined seeing the exact horse she wanted each time she looked outside her kitchen window. She put a picture of a chestnut Morgan horse on the screen of her laptop computer. Whenever she had the opportunity, she doodled drawings of the horse. She began looking at horses for sale, even though she couldn't afford them. She took her children to a store and together they tried on riding boots. She looked at saddles. She bought the only things she could afford: a horse blanket, lead, and horse brushes, and she kept them on display so she could see them every day. Sometime later, the woman went to a horse expo in her town. A raffle was being held at the expo, and the first prize was a chestnut Morgan gelding, the exact same horse she had been imagining. And of course, she won the raffle and received her horse. Your senses are props too. So, use all your senses to help you feel that you have what you want. Feel the touch of what you want with your skin. Taste it, smell it, see it, and hear it. One man worked with all his senses to bring himself multiple job offers. He had applied for 75 positions over 3 years and had not received a single job offer, but then he used his imagination and all his senses to imagine he had his dream job. He imagined every detail in his new office. He touched the keys of his computer in his imagination. He smelled the lemon scent of the furniture polish on his new huge mahogany desk. He imagined his work colleagues. He gave them names. He had conversations with them. He had meetings with them. He even tasted the tacos at lunch breaks. 7 weeks later, he began receiving requests for interviews. Then requests for second interviews poured in. Then he received not only 1 fantastic job offer but 2. He accepted the job he loved the most. It was his dream job. Know that when you have completed your part in the creation process, creation is done. You are no longer in the old world where you didn't have what you wanted. You have moved into a new world that contains the very thing you want even if you can't see it yet. Know that you will receive it. Points of power. It to harness the force of love in your life to bring something you want or change something you don't want. The creation process is always the same. Imagine it. Feel it. Receive it. Your imagination connects you to what you want. Your desire and feelings of love create the magnetism, the magnetic power, drawing your desire to you. Or imagine yourself being with your desire. At the same time, feel love for what you're imagining. Desire what you want with all of your heart because desire is a feeling of love, and you must give love to receive what you love. And when you imagine anything positive that you want and love, you are harnessing the force of love. Push your imagination to the limits and imagine the best and highest that you possibly can of whatever it is that you want. Whatever desire you can imagine already exists, it doesn't matter what it is. If you can imagine it, it already exists in creation. In conversations and in your thoughts say, imagine if, and then complete the sentence with what you want. Use props. Surround yourself with items of clothing, pictures, photographs, and relevant objects so you can imagine and feel the feelings of having what you want. And your senses are props too. Use all your senses to help you feel that you have what you want. Feel it, taste it, smell it, see it, and hear it. And when you have completed your part in the creation process, you have moved into a new world that contains the very thing you want even if you can't see it yet. Know you will receive it. Feeling is creation. Whenever your feeling is in conflict with your wish, feeling will be the victor. Fields of feelings. I want you to understand what happens to you when you give love through your good feelings because it is truly magnificent. Your feelings create a magnetic field that completely surrounds you. Every person is surrounded by a magnetic field, and so wherever you go, the magnetic field goes with you. You may have seen ancient pictures depicting something similar where they show an aura or halo surrounding a person. Well, the aura surrounding each person is actually an electromagnetic field, and it's through the magnetism of your field that surrounds you that you attract everything in your life. What determines whether your field is positive or negative at any time is your feelings. Every single time you give love, through your feelings, words, or actions, you add more love to the field around you. The more love you give, the greater and more powerful is your magnetic field. Whatever is in your magnetic field is attracting to itself, and so the more love in your field, the more power you have to attract the things you love. You can get to a point where the magnetic power in your field is so positive and strong that you can have a flash of imagining and feeling something good, and within no time, it has appeared in your life. That is the incredible power you have, and that is the phenomenal power of the force of love. Through your ability to think and feel, you have dominion over all creation. I want to share a very simple situation that happened in my life that demonstrates how fast love can work. I love flowers, and so I do my best to have fresh flowers each week because they make me feel happy. Usually, I buy flowers from the farmer's market, but on this particular week it was raining and there was no farmer's market and no flowers. My response to there being no flowers was that it was a really good thing because it would make me appreciate and love flowers even more. Instead of feeling disappointment, I chose to feel love, and so I filled my magnetic field with the love of flowers. Within 2 hours, I received a delivery of an enormous vase of flowers. From across the other side of the world, my sister had sent me the most beautiful flowers you have ever seen, thanking me for something I had done for her. When you can give love, no matter what the circumstances must change. Now you can appreciate why it is so important to choose love, because every time you give love, you increase and multiply the love in the magnetic field around you. The more love you give in your day-to-day life, the greater the magnetic power of love you have in the field around you, and everything you want will fall at your feet. This is the magic of what your life will be when you are giving love. My life did not used to be as magical as it is now. My life used to be full of struggle and difficulties, but I discovered something fantastic about life. And what I discovered is everything I am sharing with you in this book. Nothing is too big for the force of love. There is no distance too great, no obstacle it cannot overcome. Time cannot stand in its way. You can change anything in your life by harnessing the greatest power in the universe, and all you have to do is give love. The point of creation. You can tend to think of the things you want as really big things, but your perspective is way out of proportion when you think that way. When you think something is really big, in effect you're saying to the law of attraction, this is so big it's going to be difficult to achieve, and it's probably going to take a really long time. And you will be right, because whatever you think and feel is what you will receive. If you think your desire is really big, you will create difficulty and a time delay in receiving what you want. But there is no big or small for the law of attraction, and there is no concept of time for the law of attraction. To help you have the true perspective of creation, no matter how big your desire may seem to you, think of it as the size of a dot. You may want a house, car, vacation, money, the perfect partner, your dream job, or children. You may want to receive full health in your body. You may want to pass exams, get into a particular college, break a world record, become president, a successful actor, lawyer, writer, or teacher. It doesn't matter what it is you want. Think of it as the size of a dot, because for the force of love, what you want is smaller than a dot. Our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win. If you find your faith wavering, just put a dot in the center of a large circle and next to the dot write the name of your desire. As often as you like, Look at your drawing of the dot in the circle, knowing your desire is the size of that dot for the force of love. How to change something negative. If there is something negative in your life and you want to change it, the process is the same. Give love by imagining and feeling that you have what you want. Remember that anything negative is a lack of love, and so you have to imagine the opposite of the negative situation, because its opposite is love. For example, if you have an illness that you want to be gone, give love for your body being healthy. If you are using the creation process to change something negative, know that you do not have to turn the negative into a positive. That feels really hard to do, and it is not how creation works. Creation means something new is created, which automatically replaces the old. You don't need to think about what you want to change. All you have to do is give love for what you want, and the force of love will replace the negativity for you. If a person is injured and receiving medical help, but things are not improving, it means they're imagining and feeling the injury more than they're imagining and feeling a full recovery. The way to tip the balance to recovery is to imagine and feel having a full recovery more than not having it. The fact that you can imagine a full recovery means that it already exists. Impregnate your magnetic field with good feelings about anything and everything that makes you feel good. Ramp up your love in every area of your life. Feel good as much as you can, because every moment of giving love brings a full recovery. Your feelings are your God. Whether you want to change your health, money, relationships, or anything else, the process is the same. Imagine what you want. Imagine and feel the love of having it. Imagine every scene and situation you can with what you want and feel that you have it now. Try spending 7 minutes each day imagining and feeling having what you want. Do it until you know your desire belongs to you, as you know your name belongs to you. With some things you will get to this state after just 1 or 2 days. Other things may take you longer. Then simply get on with your life, giving as much love and as many good feelings as you can, because the more love you give, the faster you will receive what you desire. After you've imagined and felt having what you want, you're literally in a new world with what you've imagined. So don't contradict the new world by telling everyone about an injury that's not improving, because then you are imagining the worst again and you're back in the old world. As you imagine the worst, that's what you will receive back. As you imagine the best, that's what you'll receive back. If somebody asks how your injury is doing, you can say, I am feeling 100% again and my body is following. You can say, this has been a blessing because it has made me appreciate my body and health more than I ever have in my life. Or if you are bold enough, you can say, I have a full recovery by the horns. You can't talk about something you don't want without feeling bad. It's that simple, but people are so used to not feeling good a lot of the time, they don't even notice how bad they feel when they're imagining and talking about what they don't want. When you become more aware of how you're feeling and you care more about your feelings, you will get to the point where the slightest dip in your good feelings will be unbearable for you. You will become so used to feeling good. You'll be so aware of your feelings that if they dip, you will feel it. And you'll get yourself back to feeling good right away. You are supposed to feel good and be happy most of the time because you are meant to have an amazing life. And there is no other way you can receive it. I am still determined to be cheerful and happy in whatever situation I may be for. I have also learned from experience that the greater part of our happiness or misery depends upon our dispositions and not upon our circumstances. How to eliminate bad feelings. You can change anything in your life by changing how you feel. When you change how you feel about any subject, the subject must change. But in changing the way you feel, don't try to get rid of bad feelings, because all bad feelings are simply a lack of love. Instead, you put love in. You don't try to get rid of anger or sadness. Anger and sadness are gone when you put love in. There is nothing to dig out of you. When you put love into you, all bad feelings are gone. There is only one force in life, and that force is love. You are either feeling good because you are full of love, or you are feeling bad because you are empty of love. But all your feelings are degrees of love. Think of love as if it is water in a glass, and the glass is your body. When a glass has only a little water in it, it is empty of water. You can't change the water level in the glass by waging war on the emptiness and trying to rip out the emptiness. The emptiness goes by filling the glass with water. When you have bad feelings, you are empty of love. And so when you put love into yourself, the bad feelings are gone. Don't resist bad feelings. Everything has its perfect place in life, including bad feelings. Without bad feelings, you would never know what it feels like to feel good. You would just feel the one, blah, feeling all the time, because you would have nothing to compare your feelings to. You wouldn't know what it feels like to feel really happy, excited, or joyful. It's through feeling sadness that you know how good it feels to be happy. You can never remove bad feelings from life because they are a part of life, and without them, you wouldn't have good feelings. If you feel bad about having bad feelings, you are adding more power to your bad feelings. Not only will your bad feelings get worse, but you will increase the negativity you're giving out. Now you understand that bad feelings don't bring the life you want, which will make you more mindful not to let bad feelings take over you. You are in charge of your feelings, and so if you have a bad feeling sweeping over you, one way to discharge its energy is to lighten up. There is a world within, a world of thought and feeling and power, of light and beauty, and although invisible, its forces are mighty. Life is supposed to be fun. When you're having fun, you feel great and you receive great things. When you take life too seriously, you receive serious things. Having fun brings the life you want, and taking things too seriously brings a life you have to take seriously. You have the power over your life, and you can use it to design your life in whatever way you want. But for your own sake, lighten up. To lighten up about bad feelings, I have imagined bad feelings as wild horses. There's an angry horse, a resentful horse, blaming horse, sulky horse, cranky horse, grumpy horse, an irritable horse. You name it, there's a stable full of bad-feeling horses. If I feel some disappointment over something that has happened, then I say to myself, why did you climb on the disappointment horse? Get off it now, because it's heading for more disappointment, and you don't want to go where it's going. And so I imagine bad feelings as wild horses I climb on, and if I climbed on them, then I can get off them too. I don't see bad feelings as something that is the real me or anyone else, because that is not the truth. Bad feelings are not who you are, and they are not who anyone is. A bad feeling is something you allowed yourself to feel, and you can choose to get off that horse as fast as you jumped onto it. If you think of bad feelings as a wild horse that you climbed on, it's one way to take the power out of bad feelings. If someone close to you is cranky, their bad feeling will have far less power to affect you if you imagine them as having climbed on a cranky horse. You will not take their crankiness so personally. But if you do take it personally and you become cranky from their crankiness, then you just jumped on the cranky horse with them. Respond intelligently even to unintelligent treatment. And so, with anything in life that I don't want, I use my imagination to have fun and take the power out of what I don't want. Sometimes watching myself or other people ride wild horses in various life situations makes me laugh. And when you can laugh yourself out of a bad feeling, that is really something. You have just changed your life. So, if you are feeling bad, don't give that bad feeling more power by beating up on yourself that you feel bad. If you do that, you're just whipping the wild horse into a bigger negative frenzy. The idea is not to hate bad feelings, but to deliberately choose good feelings, and choose them more often. When you resist bad feelings, they increase. The more you don't want bad feelings, the more you increase them. The more you resist anything in life, the more you bring it to you. So don't care about bad feelings if they come upon you. Don't resist them at all, and then you take all the power out of them. Points of power. 1. Every person is surrounded by a magnetic field. Wherever you go, the magnetic field goes with you. 2. You attract everything through the magnetism of your field. Your feelings determine whether your field is positive or negative at any time. 3. Every single time you give love, through your feelings, words, or actions, you add more love to the field around you. 4. The more love in your field, the more power you have to attract the things you love. 5. Imagine what you want is the size of a dot. For the force of love, what you want is smaller than a dot. 6. You do not have to turn the negative into a positive. Just give love for what you want, because the creation of what you want replaces the negativity. 7. Spend 7 minutes each day imagining and feeling having what you want. Do it until you know your desire belongs to you, as you know your flame belongs to you. 8. There is only one force in life, and that force is love. You are either feeling good because you are full of love, or you are feeling bad because you are empty of love, but all of your feelings are degrees of love. 9. To lighten up about bad feelings, imagine bad feelings as wild horses you climb on. If you climbed on them, you can climb off them. 2. You still choose to get off that horse as fast as you jumped onto it. 10. Change what you give, and you will always, without exception, change what you receive, because that is the law of attraction. That is the law of love.